Do I have to read the Kyle goes off, he turns his camera off. Welcome, everybody. My name is Stephen Perez, and I am the Director of Education and Training for the Wisconsin Lacrosse Officials Association. We are here to gather as for training, and that's all I have right now. Randy,
Sure.
we're going to go. So we're starting. Randy's going to start.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to the WILOA 2025 training. We're hoping that you get the most out of this as possible. Obviously, with us being part of on the high school, the WIAA, we are working with them to get our training as recognized by them, and which will give a boost, a level up for all of the high school officials. It's kind of an archaic system that they have, but if you go through the training, you do the test, you do your on-field, and you're going to get one free pass, if you will, bump up in your level the way they look at it at the WIA, and what they use those levels for their tournament assignments. So the higher up you are, obviously, the more you're going to get from the WIA. In this season, we started this a couple of years ago, and then COVID got in the way and all these other things. If you want to get better games, reach out to your assigner or reach out to a mentor and tell them that. So we can get you on higher level games and get you working in those games. So when those types of games come up down the road, you're ready to go for that. So I'm the assigner here in the Milwaukee area at high school. Nick Bonfilia up in the Bay Valley area, and I believe this year in the Madison area, it's going to be handled by Dave Jameson, the commissioner of the Badger Conference up there. So best of luck, and Steve, it's all yours.
Woohoo, Don. What can you share, my friend?
What can I share?
Yep.
Pay your dues. If you haven't, fill out your survey if you haven't. That's basically about it. Yeah, that's about all I got right now.
Okay, so Don, what is your role in WILOA? Because there's some people that may not know.
I'm the WILOA treasurer, technically, but I don't know, a lot of communication stuff with it too.
Okay, and Mateo, you want to introduce yourself, please?
Yep. So, hey guys, I'm the WILOA secretary, so handle just stuff like this. So make sure this meeting gets on track, scheduled, all that good stuff. If you don't already know, I'm out in the Milwaukee area. I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I know everyone that's currently on this list, or I have officiated with everyone here. So yeah, if you guys need anything or have any input on anything or want to see changes, feel free to email me at WILOA secretary, and I can bring that up to the board and get things to the people and see if we can get stuff done for you guys.
Don, there is a message in the chat asking if the link could be put in the link to the survey in the chat, so that we have it here.
It was emailed to everybody. So if you don't have it, it's because your email wasn't correct, Mr. Mark Howard. So check your email from December 27th. And if it's not there, I can re-email it to you. But it
Mark,
was emailed to everybody.
I tried to like be pragmatic about it.
I'm currently in my car, so I can't do it right now.
Oh,
so
okay.
putting it in the chat won't help, but it was emailed to you.
It's possible. It's the new Niloa guy. You know how those rookies are.
Oh yeah.
Mark is a teacher, so I don't know what he thinks, what he lets his students get away with, but at WCTC, but
oh my goodness. Okay. All right, so
Want to welcome all newcomers to the organization.
exactly, dude.
Very inclusive and understanding.
All right, so let's go. Let's start this. It's like, if you can't tell, like if you're newer, like Logan, I don't recognize your name. Some of us have been doing this for a long time, and we meet every year like this. And so this is what happens. Tonight we are going to review our goals. I'm going to go over the overview of our training. We have a welcome question, and then session 1. Tonight we're going to talk about positioning and field responsibilities. Thank you for those of you that completed the survey. I took some of your feedback and tried to incorporate what you asked for into the trainings. There were comments about let's strive for consistency across the state. That is a very, very valid point. And so today with that, we are starting with positioning so that we can at least look like we're consistent across the state. Another thing that we talked about was, or that was brought up in the surveys, was let's talk about game situations and how to manage the game. So game management is kind of sprinkled in each of the sessions. And also we are going to there was a request for making the tough calls. And so whenever I read that, I wasn't sure if you meant how do we differentiate, or how do we see calls, or how do we have the wherewithal to make the tough call. So I looked at that in a couple of different ways. And so that we're going to talk about comportment. We're going to talk about communication about making the tough calls. There was some requests to like, what is it? How do you differentiate between calling a high-level high school game versus a JV game? We can talk about that a little bit too. And so with that, that's an overview, or that's kind of where the training came from. Our goal is to develop your officiating skill set using your individual skills and commitment to improving. So what I just talked about was the sessions. So overview tonight, we're going to talk about positioning and field responsibilities. Next, we have communication and comportment. And then also the final one is developing judgment. And with that is presence in how we kind of look and act and are become like lacrosse officials. So let's see. Questions so far? All right, my friends. Frank Pulley, a major league umpire, said umpiring is the only thing where you're expected to be perfect and then get better. Since this is impossible, I'm going to ask each of you to share, why do you officiate if it's impossible to do? So I'll give you a minute to think about it. And then, why are you an official? Anybody like to start? Matt, you usually start. Box is always first.
I'm always first. Okay.
You have stuff to say.
I have stuff. I officiate because I genuinely enjoy the sport. I've grown up around it, from a player to a coach back to an official. And it's been very rewarding to see those kids make that transition from youth to high school to competitive club, even in a lot of cases up into college. So
that's awesome.
It's rewarding to see those kids develop.
I have to give you full credit, Mr. Bach, because there was a kid that I held one hand behind my back and I told him to guess a number between 1 and 10, and he guessed 9. And so
the Domeyer, yep.
So I was like, Matt, I gotta shout out Matt for teaching me that. So that's what I did. And then he was confused. He thought I changed it, because he was like, no, you really had 9.
Now I have to ask, was it a goalie?
No, it wasn't a goalie. It was
okay.
it was one of my kids. It was one of my kids at school. There, actually, no, David, no, he's not a goalie. So anyone else? Matt started for the love of the game. Gasser, what do you got?
I didn't play. I didn't play hockey as a kid. I didn't play lacrosse as a kid. I got the officiating bug from my old man, and I know that I'm not perfect, and I'm gonna make mistakes, but I'm just trying to get better and better and better and better, and that's why I do it. I'm not in it for the money. It's an activity. It is a hobby, a vocation that and my friends that I've made through it are fantastic, and it's just something that I often look forward to doing.
Thank you for sharing. Who's next?
I'll go.
Jameson. All right, Randy.
I look at it this way: you get paid to exercise. Those on here who are hockey officials knew Kurt and Beecher always used to tell me, man, you got to go out and officiate. You got to get in the action, and I just do it literally for the love of the contest for the kids. But I'm not that holy because I have cashed every game check ever written to me. So, but yeah, it's just the competition being out there, and rewarding players that do well, and not rewarding the players that make your life miserable.
Thank you.
I'll go. Hey Steve.
How you feeling, my friend? How's the knee?
I'm marvelous, actually.
Fantastic.
This is like a weird Kyle's right. This is like a weird hobby, right? And some guys make birdhouses, and we chase high school athletes up and down a 110-yard field. I do this for a couple of reasons. One is that when you're officiating, there is no other thought that's invading my brain. Like my bullshit and pressure, like it's all gone, because this takes all your concentration. The game, the coaches, the kids, the rules, your partner, everything. It's all consuming when you're in the moment. And I find it to be a really great break from my day-to-day. The other thing is that as I've been doing this, it's the camaraderie, right? It's the ability to reconnect with you guys, every January. We do some college games, and we fall into the high school season, and then you never know what you're going to get, right? I mean, Steve, you and I did this weirdo playoff game where we had the kid who did who literally came off the top rope and body slammed this other kid. And you just don't know what every game is going to bring. And I think you take all that stuff and you kind of put it together, and the fact that it's a challenge and you never can get it 100% right ever. I think that's what keeps bringing me back.
Thank you for sharing. God, that was funny. That kid, what was he doing? Who's next?
I can go.
Okay, Logan, welcome.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Logan. I'm new to the area here. I'm moving actually here. I moved to Milwaukee here from Michigan. And I started officiating lacrosse when I was in high school, just doing youth games. And so that was really just to make some extra change for a high school kid, and going, then I went to Michigan State and continued to officiate still to just make some extra money. And I played a club lacrosse there at Michigan State, and now it's just to stay involved in the sport, and like Randy said, also a little bit of exercise. So, but yeah, no, I'm glad to be here. Excited to officiate with you guys.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing. Welcome.
Yep.
Where are you? What area of the state?
So I'm in Milwaukee,
Right on.
right downtown. Yep.
Send him to Kenosha, Randy.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
No, then Max won't have anything to do.
Max told me today he's gonna ref a bunch in Madison.
Where did Max go? He was here. All right, anyone else who would like to share?
I'll go.
Okay,
Um,
welcome,
I
Bill. How are
co thanks. I coached for a long time, and when I was done coaching, I wanted to stay active in the sport, and that was another draw. I mean, how can I stay active in it? Officiate, and then there's also a huge need for it. I know as a coach, there were so many times where games would get moved or canceled, or there was kind of a disarray and calling for buses, to cancel buses and all kind. I mean, it was just a pain, and there was a need. There was just a need for it, and so when I retired from my job and from coaching, I thought, well, what a great way to stay in the sport. So
Thank
I think it stays in, and I stay active with it. And I like the idea of getting in shape and running back and forth. I like counting my steps on the field. I think last year I did 3 games Saturday and I did 29,000 steps. So
Yeah,
that's not bad. So get my fat
good
butt
for
in
you.
shape, and hopefully then eliminate some of the problems we have getting officials and
Bill,
find.
can you remind me of what part of the state you're in?
I'm sorry.
Oh, can you remind me of what part of the state you're in?
Oh, I'm in Wausau. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we're kind of in the middle of no man's land up here, and we've lost a couple of teams. I know like Pacelli's out this year, Everest and Wausau combined. So now we almost have a surplus of officials. Then we have games now, so it'll be interesting to see how the season works out for us. But I'm retired. I can drive, so
See,
not a
you
problem.
said it. Now all the assigners' ears perked up. You're gonna be working in Kenosha.
Hey, whatever it takes, man. If we got a game, we need people. I'll go. So.
Andy, you brought yourself. You lit your camera up. What do you got? You're muted. Or I can't hear you. Can't hear you.
Can't hear you, Andy. Your back's still hurting you. Can you sign, Andy? You do sign language?
He's just gonna go like that. While we're waiting for Andy, who haven't we heard from?
I'll go, Steve.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I officiate for a lot of reasons. One of them was when I was playing in high school, there weren't very many officials officiating my games, and some of those guys weren't very good either. So when it came to be my time officiating, I thought I would hopefully get some of those guys out of those positions and take over for them.
Some of those guys are on this call, I think, with Randy and Mark. Didn't they have a
Oh
lot of
yeah,
cam
sorry
games?
guys. But I said some guys didn't say. Oh, they had a lot of they had my Arrowhead games every single time. Oddly enough.
It's because you cheat.
No, but seriously, I officiate because when I was in high school, there was very few refs, truly, and it was a lot of fun to see those guys have fun. Especially like at pre-games, like a lot of people say like players don't recognize officials or don't think when they're at their pre-games, but I always recognize the same guys, and they always had a lot of fun. I'd always see Randy all the time, and he'd always make a point to say hi, or Steve. So when it came to time to officiate for me or to be in a position to officiate, I wanted kind of give back because those guys sacrificed a lot, especially there being 5 guys out in the Milwaukee area.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Steve, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. We can hear you now, Andy.
All right, great. I got a new laptop, and this is the first time I've been on a Zoom call. I'm usually a Teams user. Nonetheless, all the reasons many people have mentioned already: exercise, camaraderie, love of the game, all those things. But I'll share that I never played the game. I was a father of kids that played the game. I got recruited off the sideline by Randy, and in some ways, I'm still paying my penance for being that asshole dad on the sideline at times that yelled at officials, and I'm still embarrassed about it. So here I am trying to make penance for that.
Oh, thank you. I couldn't imagine. You're not a yeller. I can't
Oh, there was a
imagine you
time
doing
I was
that.
like, "Where's the slash? Come on!" My middle son was a smaller guy, and he was a fogo at times, and it seemed like there was always something that. But he dished out his share of purse swings as well. So Randy can tell you.
I'll go. I started officiating for the challenge of it. I was watching a Major League Baseball game in spring training, and I grew up playing baseball, and growing up in Houston, I was exposed to like baseball, basketball, football, like all the time. And I was watching a spring training game when I was in college, and I was like, wow, you know, those catchers are really good. But then I started watching the umpire, and I was like, whoa, if he has to be better than the players. And so I started with baseball. And since then I've been able to, I'm in it for the challenge. And now I'm at the point in my career where I feel lucky to be there, and be lucky to be part of these stories that these kids are going to carry with them for the rest of their lives, you know. And if I fall down and I'm refereeing a hockey game and I get checked in the boards, I'm going to be a beer story for the rest of that kid's life, and that's okay with me. But I originally got into it for the challenge. Now I enjoy trying to develop new officials and working with a good group of guys, you know, lacrosse guys, hockey guys. It's a good group of guys. And so I thank you guys for keeping me motivated to come back into it. Nick, we're talking about why are you an official? So anybody else? We haven't heard from Drake or Ray or Nick. Pat.
I'll share, Steve.
Okay.
I got into officiating from my dad, really. Growing up, he reffed football. He just retired after 35 years, so it was something
Wow.
always around, and even reffed for 6 years on his crew after college. So it was just something that was always around, and just wanted to give back in any way I could to the sport that gave me so many life opportunities.
Oh. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
Hey, I can go, Steve. And sorry,
Okay.
I'm just doing the bedtime routine. So
Sorry,
if you hear some hollering. But no, so refereeing, I started when I was 15 because I wanted, money to, go do everything 15-year-olds do. And the reason I've stuck with it for as long as I have is because everywhere I've moved in, like from Massachusetts to New York to South Carolina to Wisconsin, it's given me a group of friends. And that's really special. So.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Thanks for sharing. We all have different motivations, and I think that one of the things that came up was that, like, we're here for one another. It's you and your partner. There are times that stories will be created, and there's times that stories will be told. But it's going to be you and your partner, and whenever we're together, we're the third team out there, and I strive to be the best team out there. So with that, let's start reviewing. We're going to go back to kind of fundamental stuff. And again, we're striving for consistency across the state. So we are going to start off with positioning. Positioning, we're going to go into the areas of the game. A lot of these slides look familiar because they are from US Lacrosse. So we're trying to make sure that we are all in alignment. And there's some questions that I'd like to get your perspective, and it's kind of a quiz, and kind of get us back into it, because it is January. It was like 30 degrees outside, but we have games in about 6 weeks. So here we go. Positioning. What do we see in a two-man game? We have a face-off official, and then we have a lead left official. The lead left official is going to be headed towards the goal line on his left. So the slide says single side official is responsible for normal trail responsibilities, off-ball penalties, late hits, etc., until the trail gets into the offensive zone. The lead left becomes the trail official. Keep your eyes on the play, as a turnover may require you to run and turn your cover. So in the diagram, the face-off official is signified by FO. The play goes to his left. He's going to drop back. trying to get out of the way, create some distance so he could keep all the players in front of him. Again, as a reminder, the wider you are, the more players you see. And so US lacrosse is encouraging us to get wide first and then kind of seep in towards the goal line. This is kind of changing. You'll observers say you want you to be wider than the widest player. After the face-off, we're going that way. The face-off official is going to get wide and then go down. The lead left is going to proceed down across into the offensive zone, stand above the restraining line, and work in this area here. What questions are there? Any comments, any experiences, any disagreements, any tips or tricks that you would like to share with the group so that we can be more effective on the field? All right, we have face-offs. Next, if the ball goes to the face-off official's right, the lead left is going to cross the restraining line and he's going to act as the covering official for all of this until the trail gets into his position. So this, till the trail gets into his position. In this, the trail official, the face-off official becomes the trail official and is going to, again, work opposite. The lead left is going to stay on the bench side, and we're going to stay like that. Again, it's important that the lead left official be able to manage everything, all the offensive zone until the face-off official gains his position, and then it becomes our split responsibility on the field.
He's pretty deep in that diagram, wouldn't you say, as far as the high official?
Which one? The lead left official here?
Oh no, the other guy.
Yes. This guy, the face-off official?
In his set position, in his settled position, as where it says S right there.
Right. He is very, very deep.
It's pretty deep to me.
I would not advise that.
Okay.
I would not advise that on a 3-man. That's a pretty good position.
Of course. Yep.
Are we doing, is 3-man happening in Madison? Does anyone know?
I asked JMO today.
Okay.
I said, because I said, hey, are you gonna sign 3 for boys? And he said yes.
Okay.
In Madison. So
okay.
I said, okay, I'm in.
Okay. So if you are working 3-man, then we're going to have a face-off official who's going to become the single side. Then we have a lead, and then we have an assistant, which would be A1. So whenever we are at the face-off, we have the administering face-off official, and we have an assisting official in this area here. Usually, like, what do they say, 4 to 6 yards from the players that are facing off. You want to be inside that. If there's a soccer circle, you want to be inside that, and you want to be in an angle that is complementary to the angle that the face-off official is working from. As a face-off official, we are encouraged to either be 90 degrees here, looking at the neutral zone and tops to stops, or along this line here. So you're looking at the verticality of the sticks. It does not do anyone any good if the assist official is 45 degrees and the other official is 45 degrees, because you're seeing the same thing. As we get into communication and comportment in our next session, we'll talk about that communication a little more, about who is directing and what help the face-off official is given. So in 3 officials, we're going to have a face-off official, an assisting official, and then a wing official on this side. Questions, comments, concerns? Woohoo! All right, face-off officials. What are the criteria that you are checking for after the command of down? Gasser, you got like all 10 of them last year. So take yourself off mute. What are you looking for?
Oh man, you want me to replay it? I don't.
No, give me one. Someone, give me one. Andy, what's the first thing you're looking for?
Alignment, top to stops.
Top stops. Fantastic. So, Don, what do you got?
Standing neutral grip.
Standing neutral grip. Oh, okay. Mr. Howard, what are you looking for?
Knuckles of the gloves on the ground.
Okay, players touching the ground. Okay, wow. Mateo, why are you cheating?
Head's in the neutral zone.
Head.
Yeah.
This head? Your cabeza head?
Toes
Randy,
and
what are you
knees
looking
out of the
for?
neutral zone too.
Get your knees out of the neutral zone. All right, what else?
Making sure that they're lined up on the line.
They're on the line. Okay.
Not
else do we
on
have?
the line, but lined up to the line.
To the line. All right.
The
Hoffman,
heads are vertical.
crossheads are the heads of the crosses are vertical. What else do we got?
Gloves aren't touching the head of the cross.
Okay, hands off the plastic. Thank you, Logan.
Yeah.
Hoffman. Anything else? Let's see, what do we got? Tops and stops, head perpendicular to the ground, vertical, both hands touching the ground, all fingers wrapped around the cross. Right hand is palm up. The entire player's body is to the left of the head of the cross. The player is completely out of the neutral zone. So those are the ones. And then Kyle had like 3 more. Gasser had 3 more and I forgot them. Anyone else? Don, you got something to say? All right.
No.
Fantastic. After we have the face-off, we have this thing called possession. What are the criteria that define possession? What happens after possession is called? And what happens if either team violates a restraining line before possession is called? Someone take yourself off mute and give me the criteria.
Pass, cradle, or shoot.
Pass, cradle, or shoot. Thank you, Nick. And then after we call possession, what happens?
I would add pass, cradle, shoot, or carry the ball.
Mr. NLL rules. What happens after the possession is called?
You start counting.
You start counting. And
Well,
There's our release.
I can't tell you which count it is. It's either 20 or 10.
and Andy says that there's a release. And then what happens if either team violates a restraining line before possession is called?
Legal procedure.
And
Going the other way.
we're gonna give the ball to whom, Andy?
We're gonna whoever didn't whoever violated the release early, right? We're gonna give it to the opposite team.
Yep. So again, using language from the rule book, we're gonna give the ball to the non-offending team. So possession, a player can carry / cradle, pass, or shoot the ball. After calling possession, area restrictions end and counts begin. And then violating the restraining line, award the ball to the non-offending team. Questions, comments, concerns?
When we have a violation on the restraining line, make sure we're holding players back and not just letting all those players leave and get wherever they want on the field or sub.
Fantastic. Thank you for that addition. I will add that to the slide. What Don is reminding us of is that there is a violation. And so the players should remain in the restraining box. The only people that are outside of the boxes were the people that were the wing players and the face-off players. The face-off players can substitute. That is illegal. So that is a time the ball is dead. They can substitute. That does not have. They have like their regular 20-second timer. They do not have to pick up the ball immediately and go. So if there's a violation and the player drops the ball and walks off, and they have 20 seconds to get a sub back on, and then we're going. But all the defensive players or the players below the restraining lines have to be held in the box. Thank you, Don. Positioning next, subtle play. In a two-man offense or a two-man settled offense, we are going to divide the field according to the diagram. The trail has the shaded areas. The lead has the unshaded areas. Next week, we can talk a little bit more specifically about how to officiate the play along this area here, because this is a double coverage zone. But as the lead, what are we watching for? As the lead, what are we watching for right there? Take yourself off mute. Let's talk about it.
Steve, is that an old diagram? That looks like lead right to me.
This is a lead right. Or if we are at Brookfield.
Yeah.
I'm the lead at Brookfield, so that's. So what are we watching for as the lead? What do we got?
Crease violations.
Crease violations. Tell me more, Andy.
A fence, a team on the offense, player steps in or on the crease line.
Okay. So we have a crease violation. What else? What else are we watching for? Is that it?
Goals.
Interference.
Okay, so we have goals. We're as the lead, we're making sure we're looking for counting goals because that is kind of like our main responsibility down there. Andy, I heard interference.
Steve, you're looking for all the business that's happening right in front of the crease. That's where all the polls will tell you that that's where the men play lacrosse.
That's where
and that's where all the business happens. And so you're looking for the cheap shots, you're looking for the hold, or the interference, making sure that the offense can run. And then of course you have the end line responsibility, making that call on a shot or a play or whatever. But it's that's where the business happens.
That's where the business happens.
Right in that area.
As the lead. It is very tempting to follow the ball and watch the ball as whenever I'm observing. We can tell whenever people are just watching the ball because the bill of their hat is tracing the ball around, or they're staring at the ball as from the lead position and the ball's at midfield, and there's all kinds of shenanigans happening in and around the crease. So as the lead official, I would encourage you to focus on an off-ball play in and around the crease. Off-ball play is screening, is screens, is interference, is making sure that offensive players are able to flow, making sure that the short stick middies aren't cheating and pinning a guy, holding the guy as the cutter is trying to move through the offense. But just please stay focused on an off-ball play in and around the crease. All right, the trail, you're looking where the lead isn't. So focus on an off-ball play in your primary area. And then the primary, I introduced this term primary area, and primary responsibility is who has the first call, who's watching that player most. And if there is a foul, who is going to be responsible for it. And when we look at this diagram, primary area of responsibility is where the play starts. If a player starts in this area and then comes into the trail area and then gets cross-checked, he started in the leads area, so let's defer to the lead. This is a good place for, like, anywhere along these borders is a good place for a double foul. Or I'm sorry, not a double foul, but for two flags. When we have two flags and the play's up here, someone's not watching their off ball. So our primary area of responsibility is our coverage when the ball is there and the ball is staying there. And if a player is moving from one area to another, primary responsibility stays with the person whose area the ball started in. So if it starts in the trail, the trail's got to stay with it, because he can't take his eyes off of it in case something happens, and the lead is still going to be, he's aware of the player in his area here, but he's still watching off ball. Questions, comments, concerns? Pushback?
No, not just the trail has always got the guy who touched the ball last. That's about the best way to look at it. Because if
Thank
I'm
you.
lead and I'm trailing with or going with the ball to the end line, and I hear one hell of a thud, that trail better have seen the thud, because I'm not looking there.
Right. Like we had where was it? Lawrence? What's the
Mhm.
we heard something. Yeah, so the trail is going to stay with the person that last touched the ball. That is a great way to put it. Who touched it last, make sure the trail keeps her eyes on it. Because if your head goes like that to watch the ball and something happens, that's when we get in trouble. And so questions, comments, concerns, tips, tricks.
You know, Steve, to this day, in my brain, I do shooter, shooter, shooter when I'm the trail. Because inevitably, every time I take my eye off the shooter is the moment where they end up on their back. And your job of the trail is to protect the shooter. And it's super, super important.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing that actually you still say that. Like for me, I'm saying stay with the shooter. I am like, stay with him, stay with him, stay with him. And just like you said, it's a verbal cue to like remind yourself. It's like, don't follow the ball. And when I do follow the ball, I'm like, fuck, something could have happened.
And there's nothing worse than having to apologize to a coach for not paying attention when he's got a player on the ground.
Any other sayings, verbal cues that you use to help remind you to stay with the shooter? In a three-man, we have a little bit, we have three areas or three people looking at the play. Again, when we're in a three-man system, you know, now you can have two guys on the ball, and hopefully the odds increase that we'll see if there is a late hit or unnecessary roughness. But still, let's keep both the guys. The trail has some help from the single side in terms of keeping an eye on the ball. In our three-man settled offense, again, as a lead, I'm watching in and around the crease. Stay off ball. Off ball, off ball, off ball. I mean, if you find yourself staring at a zone, that's okay, because you're doing your job. You're doing your job. We get in trouble whenever both officials are watching the ball. And if you could use the time to, if you're officiating that zone, like Mark pointed out, as Jameson pointed out, that's where the business is happening. That's a good opportunity to talk to the players and let them know you're watching. You know, it's like, hey, you know, keep your feet moving or control your cross. Those are ways to indicate, to share your presence and to let them know that you're watching, even though the ball may not be there. The more we can kind of be active and let our presence be known without throwing flags and without throwing whistles, it lends to our credibility, and it shows that we are there watching, we're there working, and we're into the game. As the ball moves in a three-man settled situation, the officials are going to move. The trail, whenever we have a ball near the midline, get to the division line so that we can make a ruling on over and back. Single side is going to help, especially early in a settled situation. If the trail doesn't know that the ball is that the line is hot, that the single side can come up and help and let him know. Conversely, as the ball goes towards the inline and the lead cheats down, the single side can go to and a little bit beyond the goal line to help and also to keep officiating the area in and around the crease. It is very, very easy in both systems just to officiate the lines from where you are. It looks better and it lends to our credibility whenever we are active and moving and in the vicinity of the ball. Let's not move to move just for the sake of moving, but let's be efficient. And whenever the coach looks up, we are where he's expecting us to be. You know, we're where we're supposed to be. If that doesn't happen when the play happens, blow your whistle and then hustle towards it. And then by the time he looks up, it looks like you're right on the line. So there's ways to be efficient.
We call that the Jameson rule. Look and sound like you know what you're doing.
It works. Positioning line responsibilities. In a two-man ball out of bounds, the lead has the entire sideline opposite the trail side, and he has the inline. The little checkered areas require some communication as to who has what and who's going to call it. And if there's double whistles, we need to have good eye contact and someone pause before one says he went that way and we got this way. Advice on how to handle that. What is your pregame like about this? How do we talk about this in your pregame? It's not talked about.
I think in the Bay Valley, Steve, what we end up talking about is the importance of keeping one eye on your other officials, right? That needs to be a frequent reminder just to make sure, you're in the right spot and that y'all aren't bunched up or perhaps looking at the wrong thing, or maybe your partner's ball watching and you need to be watching off ball because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. But it really helps on the out of bounds too. And in the whistles in to make sure that, hey, your partners are ready, but B, we know who's going to blow the whistle. Nothing's more embarrassing than having two whistles, right?
Okay. So reminders in the Bay Valley about okay, let's have good communication if this happens and what are we going to do, but just reminders about hey, what are our responsibilities? And let's make sure that we each know our responsibilities, because it is easy to get hypnotized by the ball, especially if you have a game where it's not very, very skilled. The ball's on the ground a lot. I know that I find myself getting frustrated sometimes. It's like, come on, just pick up the ball, please, please, please. And I start focusing on what's not being done. And then when the ball goes out of bounds, I'm like, uh-oh, I wasn't paying attention.
I think, hey, Steve, I think when the ball goes out of bounds like that, I think you need to, Nick's exactly right. You need to be, communicating visually with your partner. But also one of the things that I see is wherever we're transitioning to, that official needs to get to where they're going. And a lot of times they're too far up. So if we're taking the ball out of bounds, say where the lead is, but yet we're going in the other direction, and so the trail is the new lead, right?
Okay.
I see them sometimes cheating up half, and just go where you got to go, get to where you need to be, and let your partner handle the clear.
Okay.
And so because that's how we get behind the play if we're not careful.
Okay. Yep. Thanks for that reminder. Any advice? Any other advice that can be shared? Three-man, ball out of bounds. single side has the line, the sideline at his back. The lead is going to take the inlines, and then the trail has the sidelines as they're transitioning. It really takes a good communication to manage balls out of bounds in transitions. As the old lead, I would encourage you, old lead, new trail, get wide because the new lead is headed towards the goal line. So get wide as the old trail, or as the old lead, new trail. Get wide, be ready to help. Go ahead and just hustle, get towards the line, and just make that your prime in your head. It's like, I have the sideline. I have to get to the sideline, because your new lead should be headed towards the goal line and kind of cheating toward the crease. And if the ball is tipped out behind as his back is turned, someone needs to get that. So, and our credibility is greatly increased if the trail gets wide. As the old trail or old lead to new trail, I've been past couple of seasons, my first couple of steps are out this way and then reading the play. And if I really need to get there, then I can head out hard and then take an angle to the sideline. But my first movement is out. And that's something that I've been working on. It's been very, very helpful. And I've been able to kind of just train my brain to get wide as soon as I'm the old lead to new trail, just so I can help my partner. When is the ball out of bounds? What are the criteria? In field hockey, the entire ball has to be across the entire line. So the ball can be above the line, it can roll on the line, and it's still in play. And sometimes that screws me up. So when is the ball out of bounds in lacrosse?
There's two scenarios. On a shot, it's when it crosses the end line.
Okay.
And in every other situation, it's when the ball touches the ground outside of the line or on the line.
So can it touch the line?
It's out of bounds if it touches the line.
Okay, so the ball, as soon as it touches the line or crosses the line or lands out
of bounds,
it touches the ground outside the field of play.
Yep.
Ooh, very nice, sir. That's what I came up with. When is a player out of bounds? Who can tell me when a player is out of bounds?
When they touch the line or the ground out of bounds.
Okay. When they touch it, what about if they touch it with their cross? Are they out of bounds?
Out of bounds, yes.
Yes.
If they're laying on the ground and their helmet's on the line, are they out of bounds?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah. So the ball is out of bounds when it touches any part of the line or contacts the ground outside the field of play. A player is out of bounds when he or his equipment touches any part of the line or contacts the ground outside the field of play. There was a question on the college test about is a player without a cross closest to the ball? Is he still closest to the ball?
He's not properly equipped.
So is he a player? So he doesn't count. So the other player that we're going to give the ball to the other team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't find that in the book, but that was the correct answer.
Mm-hmm.
It's no different than the guy that beats the ball out of bounds and then bitches that he was closest to it.
Right, but he's out of bounds.
Because he stepped out of bounds.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, but the thing was, when Don and I and Mateo were going over it, it's like, where is that in the book that a player without a cross is? I mean, he has to be legally equipped, but then where does that marry to being being in play and not a player? I don't know. Next, how is possession determined after an out of bounds call? Who gets the ball?
Two scenarios, right? Was it a shot?
Okay.
Then the team closest to the ball, as the ball went out of bounds, retains possession.
Okay. And the other one?
Goes the other way if it's off, team A, and it's just a regular, a errant pass or something like that. We're going with team B.
Yep. So possession is awarded to the team that was not the last touch of the ball before leaving the field of play. Possession is awarded to the team whose player did not contact the boundary line. And I neglected to put the shot criteria on there, so my apologies. But those are how we're determining possession. Our attendance thing is if you're, oh wait, this is the wrong slide because this was the wrong date. If you're watching this after January 9th, because I put my favorite thing, I put eye black. Kyle, you were asking, or we were talking about that ridiculous box tournament. One of the coaches had eye black at this tournament.
I'm sorry. Did you just say the coach had eye black?
Yes.
GTFO.
I think we should start wearing eye black.
Yes. Wait, what was I?
I've been trying to get Steve to do it for a couple of years now.
I know.
Just at a. Why can't I remember? I was just at a sporting event, and like one of the kids. Oh, it was a hockey game, and it was a hockey game. The kid had eye black on a hockey game, and it was on half of his. On half, like one eye, the left eye had eye black, and I'm like, it's not in a rule book. I have no idea what to do here. I just had never even heard of it. It was absurd. And this was USA Hockey, like Pee-wees, and I was just like, I haven't done this in a year. I can't even deal with this right now. I'm with a young kid. I'm like, we're not even going to talk about it.
But okay, so a kid in a hockey game. Yeah, the team had eye black.
Yeah, so
at
just
a
so I
box
can
game.
just to reset, USA Hockey, Pee-wees, eye black on one kid on half of his face. Done. I'm out.
Did he run out of eye black?
Oh, jeez. Okay. I thought I'd seen it whenever the coach had eye black on. That was too much. All right, transitions. This is when we're in transition, it's everybody's got to look at everything, 2-man or 3-man. Whenever we're in transition, the Bermuda Triangle, the area in front of the benches is where we have trouble. Who can share tips and advice on how to best to officiate the Bermuda Triangle? What do you do? The ball is in this area here, the Bermuda Triangle, here to here to here. What do you do? Don, what do you do? What's one way that you officiate that?
I have a slow restart to make sure that nobody's gonna get jacked coming from a player who's coming from the bench area, from the substitution box.
So if you are the official responsible for restarting play, you're deliberately count slower than usual.
Deliberately slowing down my whistle, yes.
That makes sense.
And then making sure that the player steps 5 yards away from the box and that he's in the proper area while the coach is yelling, "We're ready, we're ready."
Okay.
And I'm going to slow that down for player safety and to make sure that the officials are ready.
Okay. Another idea, how do we manage this? As the single side, how can you help over there? Or if you are the transitioning official from the trail to the lead and you are in this area over here. Don says we slow down.
Steve, in a 2-man game, that's a brutal area. And you need to be if that's where the ball is. First of all, Don's absolutely right. Slow it down. If you're restarting there, make sure that restart happens about the wing line. right? There's no hurry to do that because that's where somebody's going to get clocked because you have guys coming in and out and, substituting, coaches yelling at you. It's just chaos in there. And the key is to keep it slow, like Don said, but also everybody's got to be focused on it. And it's easier in a 3-man, obviously, and it's way more difficult in a 2-man. But if you're the new trail, there's no hurry to get yourself into the offensive side of the field. You need to be there. You need to watch it. If you're on the single side in a 2-man, or I'm sorry, if you're on the lead in a 2-man, you need to be watching it too and being aware that that's what's happening, because that's where you get all the kids getting the butt end and the groin, and that's where all that crap happens. And you got to be hypersensitive to when to recognize that you have a restart in the danger zone there.
So how can we be deliberate, ensuring that of player safety, and also kind of like we're doing it for player safety, but we don't want it to be obvious. So what are some messages, what can we say to help promote a start while really buying time? Don, what do you say to get players out there, to bring them out, or to get them away from the sideline?
I tell them how far, or I tell them to walk, 5 yards in or take a few steps in, point to where I want them to go. Keep shouting it at them.
Okay.
Try and make it look like they're the ones slowing it down because they're not listening.
Good job. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to get people to start practicing, is like there's ways that we can, like, we are gaining time. It's like, hey, I need you here. Step forward. 2 more giant steps. Defense, give me 5.
I'll wave my hand also. So I'm
Yeah.
a little more emphatic, I guess, or it makes it
Yeah.
look like I'm more active.
Yeah,
Or
keep coming here. Keep coming here. Andy, you were saying?
Remind them of the clear path. Right?
Okay.
Play a game.
Okay. And then one of the things that after we get those players kind of out into the field and they're safe, I always like give one or extra counts. Like, look at my partner. I'm like, hey, are we ready? And it's like, okay, then that gives me a couple of more seconds as a pause, and then we can go. But there is no reason to have that in a super hurry. So let's be deliberate. Go ahead, Randy.
Yeah, there is no fast restart, no matter what, the world thinks. It's to restart as fast as possible. And I tell coaches all the time, I said, I can't restart until my partner's ready. And that ready might be, I need him to take one more step or back up or do whatever it is. And like Don, and I'm yelling at the player, step out, sir, step out, sir, step out, sir. And I'm waving my hand and I'm buying time. So nobody's going to get jacked in the Bermuda Triangle there.
Yeah. So let's be deliberate. Let's be intentional. Let's by communicating, by giving the players directions on where they're expected to be or where we want them to be. Let's make sure that we're doing that so that we're gaining that time, rather than them picking it up and then going and they start running and we just blow the whistle. Because that's when kids have their heads down, and there's big collisions. So let's be deliberate. Let's be in control as people are looking at us. Like Don said, we are signaling, we're communicating, we're not in a hurry. If we are projecting calm, then it appears that we're calm and that we are waiting for the players, that the player's not meeting the expectation, and with the truth being that we want to create a safe situation.
Right. And I just going to, on what Andy was saying there too, making sure there's a clear path. Well, actually, the defense could be standing right next to him if we want to restart it, as long as he gives him 5 yards somewhere, some way, in that path back to the goal. But what we can't do, and I've noticed it a couple times in the past, is we cannot restart if an offensive player is within 5 yards of the ball holder when we restart. The old hidden ball trick. So just remember that. I mean, it happens really fast, guys. It's bing bing, but just like, hey,
Yep.
the defense could be standing right there, but and as long as he doesn't play him, until he gives him 5 yards, we don't care if they run neck and neck all the way down.
Yeah, so the defensive player may not actively play defense or influence the offensive player, but he can be standing there. So just keep that in mind. Here we go. 3-man settled restart. Whose whistle is it? So again, one of my pet peeves is having multiple whistles on a restart. Whenever this is a pregame. This is a pregame topic of conversation. If we are restarting after a timeout, this is also talked about then. It's like, okay, I'm going to have the restart. If it is during play and we are separated, it's good eye contact and clear signals. If I tell my partners, if I'm not ready, you will see this, like one hand, I'm not ready. If you see me pointing like this or you see me running, let's go. But if I am expecting to take the restart, my hand will be up. It's like, I have it. If I have 2 hands up, then one of us is going to drop it. And so that way we don't have 2 whistles. So in this diagram, you can see where the lead is going to restart, where the single side is going to restart, and then where the trail is going to restart. A good topic of pregame conversation is in the alley. How far is the trail going to take it before the lead wants it? Or are you going to say that the lead always has it in the alley? That is up to the crew. But it requires communication before that it happens so that we know what's going on. Tips and tricks.
Yeah, Steve, let's say if there's a whistle in what we'll call no man's land.
Yep.
And like you said, make eye contact with your partner, start tapping your chest. Like, I got it. This way you don't get the double whistle. You don't look, like, geez, where'd these guys come from?
I got it. You take it. It's like, okay. So yeah, tap your chest, point, if you want your partner to take it, point, say, you take it, or be more demonstrative. It's like, I got it. And 2-man deep restarts, let the trail have it. And where we get in trouble is kind of in this area here, in this shadow, in this unhighlighted area. Who's got a restart after and over and back? That is a pregame conversation. Who's going to take it? And let's make sure that someone has it, and not both people have it. Oops. 3-man restart again. Pregame conversation. If we are working a 3-man together, I always, if the ball is between the restraining lines, I prefer the single side to take it. But that's me and the way I work on a crew. But it's a pregame thing. So make sure you guys talk about it. It's like, where is the ball? What signals are we going to use, or is it going to be static? It's like every time the ball is here, this person's going to take it, or is it going to be like, we are going to communicate, when I want it, I will take it. When I need you to take it, I will point. But that's up to you guys. But just make sure you talk about it in your pregame. What are the criteria for a play to be restarted? So we have a stoppage of play. The ball is sitting there. What has to happen before we restart play? What are the criteria?
Someone
we
has
looking
to have the ball.
Okay, so we have to have a player in possession of the ball. Okay. What else, Nick? You want to take
No
all?
one within 5 yards of the player with
Okay.
the ball.
Okay.
No offensive player within 5 yards.
Ooh,
Bada
Don
bing.
bringing in Randy's point.
Top
What else? Is that it? So a player has possession of the ball.
Gotta have the right number of people on the field.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a whole
wanna-
other thing. Come on.
yeah, it is, but you don't want to restart with the incorrect number of players on the field.
Okay.
That'd be for a dead ball restart, but for like a live ball restart, or
They could be subbing.
then they can be subbing. Yeah.
So the player must be inbound. So, and then the player must be near the spot where the ball became dead. No offensive player within 5 yards of the player in possession of the ball, and the player may not be running. Are the ones that I'm generally looking for. So no running off the sidelines, no sprinting. I would love for all of us across the state, when the ball is shot and it goes out by the cone, that we make the player start out by the cone instead of at X. I would love to see that, because the ball went out over there. So
100%.
let's make him take it out over there.
Totally agree. It's a good way to slow the game down when you need to.
It's like the ball went out over there. So let's make them take it out over there. And, and kind of talking about that with folks, it's like the covering official is focused on, okay, the team closest, and then they're not recognizing where the ball went out of bounds. And so, again, I would encourage you to expand your field of vision to keep not only the players, but then also their relationship to the inline. Like, where are they between the goal post and the cone? Are they right at X? Are they behind you? You become expanding your field of vision to keep those things in mind, so we can have them restart close to where the ball went out of bounds. It is a huge advantage for the offense if the ball went out 5 yards inside the cone, and then they get the ball at X, because now they have the poles are over there chasing the ball, and then you restart play at X. Now you've created an unfair situation. So,
Steve, can I just add what happens a lot of times? I know with me, I'm sure other people too, and I'll admit that I do it, but there's usually like 2 balls left on the end line.
Right.
And the ball goes flying way out, and the closest balls are right behind the goal. Right. And I think I know sometimes it's like, okay, let's just keep the game going. And they just grab that ball and away we go. And not about, and then of course the reminder has to go to the coach. Hey, we need balls on the end line.
Right.
And then, 2 shots later, maybe there's balls there. So maybe it's a good thing to keep in mind that if there's not enough balls there, we still take the kid back to where the ball went out and restart play there.
I mean, Bill, one of the things that I found helpful is whenever we're in those situations where, because there's a lack of balls, that we're going to restart it here, I slow that down and make it real deliberate. Make sure that the goalie and the defense knows that, hey, we're going to start the ball right here. Are you guys good? And then make sure that they are aware of where the ball's starting. And then we go if there is a completely different position because of a shortage of balls.
Right.
But
okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I want to make sure that the defense is ready.
Sure.
So
Perfect.
that is one of the things that has been helpful.
Maybe help the coaches get balls on the end line too.
Yeah.
Faster.
I mean, and then you're yelling at your partner. It's like, hey, get balls on the end line. Mark, you were saying?
Yeah, just a general comment about restarts. There is no hurry in a restart. we see a lot of times where, especially new officials, they're like in a hurry to restart, maybe because the coach is yelling at them or the kid's waving a stick at them or whatever. There is no reason to, I mean, you want to restart expediently, but there's no reason to hurry the restart. Make sure that your partner's in place, field is set, whatever it happens to be. He's not running all that stuff, but there's no hurry. There's no reason to hurry. And in fact, many times when you take that beat to restart, you can actually calm the game down.
Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. And those are like what you're saying. We don't want to delay the game, but we don't want to rush either. And I think that as developing officials, there is a tendency to want to rush so that we're no longer in the spotlight. And I think as more veteran officials, we have the responsibility to model that calm, deliberate, we are in control. What does it look like when the game is chaotic and the officials are calm and in control? That's going to lower the temperature of the game, and it's going to send the message that we got this, because we can't get as chaotic and out of control appearing as sometimes coaches and players do.
And Steve, to go on what you and Mark just said, guys, always tell the goalie where the ball is on a restart. You'll make a friend, you'll have an ally when crap goes sideways in a game. You make the goalie your ally, everything will go a hell of a lot better.
Or sometimes actually, and I learned this from Sid. When you're restarting and there's been some whatever going on, sometimes you just say to the keep, like the keep knows where the ball is, and you just say, "Here we go, keep," just before you blow it up, right? Just to make sure that he knows we're starting, he knows where the ball is, and I think that Randy, I think that's a great bit of advice.
And then Steve, one more thing, going back to what you and Bill were saying, if we're short of balls and the ball's at X and, we take our time and it's not a big situation, we can start there and let everybody know. But if we're in a man up situation or in a short time situation, like 15 seconds or left, 10 seconds or less are left, we absolutely need to move that ball back out to where it went out of bounds. Because the last thing you want is to give that team an advantage of being closer and then having a coach, give you hell for it. And with reason, if you give them, that closer positioning.
Yep. Thanks, Don. Absolutely. So again, being aware of game situation and communication with your partner and getting the balls there and being aware of the situation. So thanks, Don. What do we got next? All right, it's 8:17. That's all I had. Questions, comments, concerns. I thank you all for participating, and you guys collectively, we have hundreds of years of experience here rather than just a single person talking, because we're in this together, and I just want to facilitate, and you guys have all helped me, and let's help each other and help our new and younger or developing officials. So we'll meet again next week. What do you got?
The attendance, was it eye black or was it what was on the side?
It doesn't matter. You text, you're here. You don't have to do anything.
Oh, okay. Second question was, if I can't make it on the 23rd, they'll be recorded, and how do I find it?
You're out.
Andy, I think you need to wear eye black to the next meeting.
Yeah.
And keep your camera on the whole time.
You even ref, bro?
Will there be a link in the email or something to the recordings?
Yes.
Okay.
Mateo, how are we doing this?
I think he had to step away. Yeah, there will be a link posted to the WILOA website.
Okay, to the website. Great.
Yeah, so I think Nick Bonafilio will get that set up. Should be in the next, probably take him a couple days to get this one up, depending on how much time he has. And when Zoom publishes it.
So yeah, the links will be out and available.
All right. And then can I ask a question about restarts again, just to real quick?
Sure.
one?
Nick
So,
said it'll be posted ASAP for each meeting.
okay, great. So I'll be out of town, but when I get back the following week, I'll be able to watch it, and then
Woo!
I text, and I'll be good to go for my third session, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. The restart. This Randy made a comment earlier about that defensive player could be within the 5 yards,
Yep.
and he could run with them right down the field. He engages the player. They start running down the field. 20 yards later, the defender decides he's going to play him now, but they haven't separated by 5 yards. That's a flag down.
Flag down.
Legal
Yep.
procedure.
Yep.
Flag down.
Slow whistle. Right.
Not yet.
And
Not yet. But flag down.
Slow whistle, he said.
Full whistle, yes.
right.
Kind of like
And-
slow gasser. Slow whistle.
Okay, all right. Here we go.
Yep. It's
And-
flag down,
and-
so whistle.
And we're calling it a legal procedure.
Yep.
Or are we calling it delay of game? Because it's really not delay of game anymore. Because when they first introduced that, we were calling it delay of game.
Right. Now it's illegal procedure.
Okay. That's what I thought. I just wanted to hear it out loud.
Yep. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Enjoy your 10 minutes. And have a
Thanks
good
a lot,
evening.
guys.
Thanks, everybody. Let's stop recording.
Did you honestly call it a slow gasser?